In this video, I'm going to be breaking down one of my live sales calls, and you're going to see the tips, tricks, and tactics that I've used to close over $7 million in sales. Let's dive in. Look, I know we have a limited amount of time. Are you cool if we just dive right in?
Absolutely.
Perfect. And then do you have like a pen and paper, something you can take notes with?
I do. As soon as I
Great.
move a bunch of my stuff, but I do.
Awesome. All good. Look, I know you already spoke with Noelle a little bit. I'm kind of curious, before you had that conversation with her and you saw the ad for me, like what initially caught your attention and made you want to hop on a call?
I had been, well, I guess long story short is at the age of 51, I am a little tired of corporate America. Um, Tired in ways of somebody telling me what my schedule is, where I need to be, at what time, and also, pretty much how much money I can make.
Mm.
So, kind of had a little bit of an entrepreneur's um, spirit to me over the past couple years, and really just kind of looking at, what program or how can I get there, creating my own business. Um, some friends of mine, did MLMs, direct selling companies, thought about it, tried them, didn't work because next thing you know, 90 days later, they're hopping into something else. And now you're trying to tell all the people that originally joined with you why you should jump over to this one because it's
Mm.
the newest, latest, and greatest. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
Um, Friend of mine created an insurance business in Florida, went and got my insurance license, currently still have it. But again, a lot of people shop around for insurance. They're looking for, the best deals.
Mm.
XYZ can give it to me for this price. Why can't you guys, match that? Or, why can't I get it for $0 and so on and so forth. So that became a little bit of I'll call it a rat race or kind of a hamster on a wheel, just kind of chasing things. Good
Yeah.
money, and good money can be made. But he was in Florida, I'm in Pennsylvania. I felt like I was on an island. A majority of the team ended up being in Florida. All the get-togethers were in Florida. And I'm like, hey, what about me, up here? And I just kind of felt like I was, left to my, you can figure it out or, type of
Yeah.
deal. So started researching into real estate, seen some people with, some land programs,
Mm.
um, got a couple courses in the past, and just haven't found what sticks.
Okay.
Um, and I'm really looking for, I guess, that regimented
Mm.
system because
Okay.
I help run and manage 78 hotels across 7 different states.
Okay.
We have policies, we have procedures, we have checklists. It's what
Mm.
I'm used to. You give me a daily checklist. These are the 10 steps that you need to do for today to be
Yeah.
doing, moving your business forward. Then I know what I need to be doing.
Okay.
Otherwise, I could be searching 10 different things and not searching the 10 right things.
Mm.
And so that's kind of, what I'm looking for in
Okay.
that part, but um, just see real estate as a vehicle to get me to where I'm, looking to go.
Okay.
And it's basically getting away from corporate America. I
Yeah.
will love it in the next 3 months. That's probably a little ambitious,
Okay.
but realistically, six months to a year, no
Yeah.
later than a year, because look, I'm in the golden years, as they say, and it's time to kind of start enjoying life.
100%. And so for you to actually realize that vision of getting out of the job, how much you need to make to feel comfortable walking away?
10 grand.
10 grand?
Hmm. Yep. I mean, that would be, if I was doing that consistently for, 3 or 4 months, that's immediately to me going, okay, I've got it to where I need it and I can, replace it. Am I happy just sitting at the 10. No, I
Sure.
want more, but at 10 grand, I can walk away.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if Noel told you, but on average, we're doing about $10,000 in profit per deal, right? So essentially, you're talking, a deal a month or so,
Right.
right? I guess for you, I mean, it sounds like you've looked into so many things, you've tried so many things. What is it about land that kind of stuck out to you that made you think maybe this will work?
Um, and I guess this comes from it. I guess it's a saying within land, but there's no tenants, termites, or toilets.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a landlord. Is land going away? Absolutely not. It's here and this is all we've got. I honestly think it's also a great investment,
Mm,
vehicle as well, because at some point in time, somebody's going to want your piece of land
yeah.
because they're probably going to be building, in that direction, or they want the timber off of it, or, something.
Yeah.
So, I just saw that going, okay, I don't have to be a landlord. Nobody's going to call me at midnight or 2 a.m. going, pipe just burst, on my property and or inside the house, and I need it fixed. Nobody's going to do that with a vacant lot.
Okay. So basically, you're talking about the fact that there's just less overhead, less moving pieces, right? A little bit
Right.
simpler.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense. I know you said you kind of looked into some other stuff. Have you taken courses specifically on land or other real estate stuff?
On land,
Okay.
I can mention two of them, if you want names. I have looked at also some other real estate programs,
Okay.
Airbnb, arbitrage,
Sure.
wholesaling, Section 8, Sub 2, to mention a few. But it just always seems to be that land kind of keeps, peeking out to me, and
Mm,
I just keep coming back to it, but I
okay.
just haven't found that sweet spot yet that gives me, am I really buying a good piece of property? Can I flip
Okay.
this? Can I flip this quick?
Yeah.
Or am I going to be sitting on, like, am I going to be sitting on it for a year, like possibly the
Sure.
current person, that owns the land has been sitting
Mm,
on it. So I guess the fear factor of knowing if it's the right deal or not
mm.
is kind of, what has held me back a little bit.
So the courses that you took, the two, like what were they lacking?
Um, so basically you got the course and go
Okay.
through the modules and hey, have fun, this is what we do and this is how it works.
Mm.
And that was pretty much it. So it's kind of the support portion.
Who
And
was it?
there's one,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
oh shoot, he is right at the tip of my tongue.
Got it. Okay.
Um, and I mean, Joe's Joe's I kind of got more out of. Jack's
Okay.
was a lot more expensive.
Okay.
But Joe's I got a little more out of, but it was like got me about 75-80% of the way there,
Okay.
but just not over the finish line. And I would say that the finish line was, he always talks about buyers,
Mm.
but how do you find the buyers?
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. So did you ever send out marketing?
Yes.
What did you do? Mail, texting, calling?
Postcards. So it was mailers. Yeah.
What
Through
happened?
what's that?
What happened? You get any deals?
I got like two people that contacted me back, but I was at the wrong numbers, so we just never got to a negotiable deal. So,
Okay. Oh, I gotta ask, like Joe and Jack, they're great guys. Like, what stood out about me compared to them?
um, honestly, it was just, I don't know if anything has necessarily, I'll say, stood out as much as, I saw a video and reached out and, started inquiring about information and curious to see about the program.
Okay.
So, I can't say that anything necessarily because I think when I was talking, to the young lady that set up the appointment, she's like, "Well, how long have you?" I said, "I think I saw him early this morning," and
Sure.
watched a video and responded, and next thing she was calling and asked me a bunch of information as well, and um, which now led us to where we're at now. So,
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm curious, man. Like you bought two different courses. Like, why didn't you just stay with them and like figure it out?
um, I guess it's that whole. I just I got to, 80% and I don't see the last, 20%. And like I said, it's okay, we got the deal set out, the marketing sent out, getting some information back and trying to, work to get an actual contract.
Yeah.
But then I'm also going, I don't have a buyer. Where do I find a buyer? What am I going to do once I have this under contract? Because where's getting that buyer, portion, the everything kind of stopped at, okay, let's get the marketing out and let's get a deal done.
Hmm.
Well, if I have a deal under contract, what am I doing now? Where am I flipping it to? Who am I wholesaling it to? And that piece was missing.
I guess I'm confused. Did you not have anyone there that you could ask questions to?
Uh, Other than just regular support.
Even like a support ticket or something?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep.
I mean, do you think it would have been different if you actually had someone like working with you one on one?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask you like an honest question. I don't mean it's not going to ask when I say this, but it sounds like for years you've tried to find something. You have this entrepreneurial drive. Nothing's clicked though. Why do you think that after all this time, you haven't been able to get something going where you can actually make 10K a month and walk away?
Um, I mean, I think it's just like that missing piece, something to get me over that, I guess I'll call it my fear factor, or my fear, being that if I sit there and get a deal under contract for, let's say I bought a property for three or $5,000
Mhm.
and hopefully you can turn around and flip it the 3 to 5. If I get a couple of those, I mean, if I end up putting up 10 grand, now I put out 10 but nothing coming back, so that scares a little bit,
Yeah.
down. um and I'm like, I just haven't found or seen anything that figures out that last hurdle to jump over of how to get that buyer.
Because you're afraid of losing your own money putting it into a deal.
Correct.
Well, what if you didn't have to put your own money into a deal? Would you still be afraid of doing the deal?
No,
Okay. No one's ever shown you how to use other people's money?
no.
Oh, sure. Okay. We'll talk more about it. I've never used my money, so is it just you doing this, or like, do you have anyone you're doing it with?
I'm sorry,
Like, do you have a partner you're doing this with? Is it just you?
just me.
Okay, so solo.
Yeah.
I respect it. Okay. Have you calculated the opportunity cost?
Have I?
Well, think about it. You've been trying this, but you told me like you've done the 80%, you can't get past that 20%. It's a fear
Correct.
block.
Correct.
Have you calculated the opportunity cost of how much you've missed out on by not getting past that block?
No, and I'm afraid to know that number right now.
What do you think
Honestly,
it is?
it's probably over six figures.
You think that'd be enough to walk away from your job?
Absolutely. It's more than I make in a year.
Look, I've been taking notes here. Can I just share some totally open, honest thoughts to you? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Helping you get 10K a month, I'm confident I can help you do that. If I'm being frank, like what I see as a real issue, you ever heard the quote from Warren Buffett? It doesn't matter how hard you row, or rather what boat you get in.
No.
Okay. Well, think about it. I think the biggest issue is kind of the vehicle, right? Like obviously you've already established that working at a job, it has its limits, its caps, right? That's why you've always looked to try these entrepreneurial things. You've tried a lot of things and I respect that you've tried it. But clearly after all that time, if you haven't found the right thing, it's like, well, maybe you have to evaluate like what's actually going on here, right? Why are these things not working for me? And I don't think you found the right vehicle because I'll be honest, like with what you've just shared with me, it seems like you really like land and it makes sense. You get 80% of the way there and you can't finish it out because of that block. And it really just sounds like it's a money block, the fear of what if I lose money? I guess I'd ask you a question. What is greater, the fear of what if I lose money on a deal or the fear of staying exactly where you are and never getting to where you could be?
Hmm. Definitely the fear of staying where I'm at and never getting to where I want to be.
100%. But here's the problem, and this is what's not allowed you to get there. It just no shade on Jack and Joe. They run some great stuff, but it just sounds like the way that they're doing it or what you've learned hasn't allowed you to get past the extra 20%. Because it sounds like from what you need to have someone who can not pay you back on a support ticket, but someone who can walk you through the process, right?
Sure.
Actually take you through it. Additionally, what if there was a way to just not use any of your own money? You don't have to worry about losing it,
Right.
right? If you're already 80% of the way there, then you can get someone else's money, you can finish through. So what you really need is a vehicle where number one, you have someone who's actually working with you one-on-one to guide you through the process. Number two, where you can leverage other people's money. Because
Right.
if the only people doing this were people who, have tons of money sitting around, it's like, well, dude, no one be doing it. You just have to know the ways to do that. So I can walk you through that process of specifically how it actually help you finally get the started and start making some money if you want, but you tell me where you want to go from here.
Um, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to get anywhere with doing what I'm currently doing, like we've already discussed. And I'm also not going to get there, with any of the information that I currently have.
Cool. So let's talk about this. Okay. What this is going to be specifically, it's a three-step process. So on your paper, I want you to
Mhm.
write down 1, 2, and 3. Because what we're going to do is take you from having learned about all this stuff to actually start earning with it. So the next 6, 12 months, you can actually walk away from your job, replace your income. Because the very first thing that we're going to focus on, and what I want you to write down next, number one, is marketing automation. Okay. This is the process that's going to remove 80% of the work off your plate. Now, look, I know that you've obviously learned a little bit about markets and stuff like that, but what I'm about to show you as we get a little bit deeper into this, one of your problems is like, where are the buyers? Where are the buyers? I don't find buyers. Find markets first, where the buyers already are. I've done over 7 figures land deals. I know where to go. I know where not to go. I know where people are already buying the land. I'm not searching for cash buyers once I have a deal under contract. I know before I even send out my marketing if there's buyers in that area. And in step two, I'll explain exactly how we do that. But here's the point. With what you've done, you sent out some postcard, got a few responses. Most of the people in the land space, I hate to say it, they're doing things that did work really well like 5 or 10 years ago, but the market's changed, right? And so with a lot of strategies people are using, they're outdated. And so they might get one out of every 30 offers accepted, right? So that it doesn't work. It's just kind of inefficient. It's like lighting your money on fire. We've adapted with the times. The way that we're doing our mail strategy, we're getting about one every 4, one every 5 offers accepted. Okay. And here's the thing though, while the way that we do it's highly effective, it does take time because we have to scrub your thousands and thousands of records to make sure we're targeting the right properties and the right sellers. So what we're going to do, because I know that the campaign that you did it didn't go too well. I don't want to have that happen again. So for your first campaign, we're going to do it for you. Okay. We're going to find the markets. We're going to scrub the data. We're going to price your offers. That way, you actually know what success looks like, right?
Mm.
Just like I've never managed a hotel, right? Like I don't know about a hotel. If I was going to learn all the ins and outs, the operations, front of house, back of house, Well, I'd probably be with you on the job and you'd be explaining, this is what we do here, et cetera, blah, blah, right? You tell me all the SOPs and I would
Right.
learn by a model. That's what we're going to do. Because we're going to do it for you the first time, you're going to see, okay, this is how it's actually done correctly. That way you're going to have a new skill. And then on future campaigns, we're going to do them together. Because once you learn how to do it once, you can do it twice. You can do it
Right.
twice. You can do it 10 times. You can write your
Right.
own check at that point. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So if we were really able to come in and take the hardest part off your plate, which is getting that first deal for you, how would that help you out?
Oh, tremendously. And that's what I've been looking for.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for number two?
Yep.
I want you to write down land flipping formula. Okay. Because what this is going to be is the actual A to Z process of building the entire business. Now, I know that you've learned about land to some degree, but one of the things that's held you back is that fear of what if I get a crappy deal, right? And when you're new, it makes sense. Think about it. You haven't done a deal yet. So how do you know if it's good or not? Sure, you can have some SOPs that tell you, but do you really know until you've actually done it? What I
Right.
want to avoid is you spending days trying to analyze a deal when, to be frank, I can look at a deal in 5 minutes and tell you if it's good or not. That's what we're going to do. Every deal that you get, we're going to underwrite it for you. Okay, that way we can tell you in a matter of minutes, say, hey, this is good or it's not. Here's why. Example, there's a transmission line in the back of the property. Go back to the seller and say this, we can get $10,000 off. Right? It's actually fast track in that first deal. More importantly, to give you the confidence to know that you're actually working on a good deal. It's to give you that safety net.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the most important thing, the thing that has blocked that extra 20% for you actually moving forward is the fear of losing money. And I get it. It's normal. But look, after doing over 7 figures in land deals, I haven't used a dime of my own money to do deals. Because what I've been able to do is I built an internal Rolodex of funders that will fund my deals. And here's the thing. They don't care about your history. They don't care about your credit because you're not taking out a loan or a mortgage. You're simply partnering with them and splitting profits when you sell. So what I'm going to do so that you can actually start doing deals and not worry about losing your money is I'm going to open up my own Rolodex of funders so that you have access to them. That way you can actually start doing deals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, from there, one of the things that you mentioned too is like the buyers. How do I find the buyers? This is where so many land flippers are going wrong. They're spending their time trying to sell the properties, building cash buyers lists, doing all that. But think about what type of business that is. You're spending 50% of time trying to acquire deals and then 50% of your time trying to sell deals, which means you have a business going up and down like this, right? That's not what we want. If our goal is to get you out of 9 to 5, you need to have a consistent income, not something like this. And so the way that we do that, the way that we find buyers, we get land specific realtors to sell the property for us. Here's why. Number one, this is what allows you to run the business remotely. But more importantly, these realtors, they have the connections to the cash buyers. They live in the market. They know the people who are buying cash. They're going out to the property for you. They're taking the photos. They're doing the negotiations. They're running that process A to Z. Right? Now, let me give you an analogy here. Let's say you're going to start a hot dog stand business. Okay? It's not a good business to start, just quickly. Now, let's say you got to pick where you're going to put the hot dog stand. You have two options. Option number one is outside of a restaurant at 7 p.m. Option number two is outside the bars at 2 in the morning. Where do you think you'd make more money?
Bar at 2 a.m.
Why?
Because people are coming out drunk and hungry.
Yes. What you have, it's called a starving crowd. And we do the same thing, but this is where so many land flippers are going wrong. Is they're trying to get deals anywhere that they can. And they go to these worst areas of the country. Like they get these desert squares in Nevada, right, in Arizona, that sure, those deals might be easy to get, but then they're hard to sell. They're taking 6, 9, 12 months because no one wants it. We flip the script. Before we even send out our marketing, we're finding areas where people are raising their hands saying, I want to buy land, I want to buy land. Or we're selling in 90, 60, sometimes even 30 days. And then all we're doing is we're plugging the local realtor to facilitate the process for us. So now we spend about 10% of our time actually trying to sell the land, which means we have 90% of our time to focus on what we want to do, whether that's scaling the business, hanging out. The point is, you have the biggest part of business handled for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you had had that process in place when you first started looking to land, where do you think you'd be?
Probably not talking to you.
Yeah.
Or potentially already achieving the not being at corporate America.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. This really ties into step 3. So next, number 3, I want you to write down scaling. Okay. Because what we're here to do, it's all about traction. Okay. It's about giving you a clear and predictable pathway. What I don't want is this to become another job for you where you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. That's not the point. The point is to build this in a way where you can work 5, 10 hours a week. It's to go from an employee to an employer. And the difference is having a business that you run versus a business that runs you.
Right.
And so the way that we're going to do that is by identifying bottlenecks before they appear and then eliminating them. And that comes from the proper systems, automations, and delegation. Okay. Now, here's how we're going to help you do this specifically. As I'm sure you're aware from what you've experienced, most people do is they give you a course with a ton of information. Okay. I'm going to be honest. Information is not bad, but if information alone was what you needed, by now, after all this time, you'd be a freaking millionaire. We wouldn't be on this call.
Right.
You'd be out of corporate America. What you need is not more information. What you need is implementation. You need someone to actually work with you who's been there, done that, who can guide you through the process. That's what we do. So specifically, what it's going to look like is we're going to work with you one-on-one for the next 6 months. Okay. We're going to have multiple weekly Zoom calls. These are small size where you can come in and then one-on-one, we can workshop anything that you're working on. So new deals, we can review them together. Calls with sellers, we can listen to them and give you feedback. New markets, we can find them. Point is, whatever it is, we can workshop it right then and there. Now, what's important to me is I don't want you to have to wait days in between those meetings to get support. So what we're going to do is for the first 4 months, you're going to have your own one-on-one account manager. This is someone you're going to have unlimited one-on-one coaching calls with. In addition, you're going to have a 24/7 Slack messenger with them where you can message them one-on-one as often as you need. Because what this is going to do is it's going to reduce your feedback loop from days to minutes. Okay. And then from there, you're going to get access to the entire land flipping system. That's the A to Z blueprint on how to build a business. But the core of what we're doing is the fact that we're working with you one-on-one to build this out. Okay. So
Okay.
I know I just spoke for like 10 minutes straight. I need to sip some water, but let me ask you this. In terms of that process, what specific questions on the process do you have for me?
So the other part, I guess, or I'll be frank. I mean, obviously, I'm not quitting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And can this be, and I know your answer is going to be yes, but how is it set up automated
Mhm.
that it can be working while I'm at work, and
Sure.
then I can work it, in the evenings, such as
Yep.
now and everything. Um, what system do you use?
Mhm.
Because I have a feeling that I probably already have it.
What do you have?
I have Freedom Soft.
Yeah,
Um,
it's mid. I know it is. Listen, it's not about the system. It's about the process. Let me explain the difference. Number one, because obviously we're sending out mail and we're doing that first campaign for you, there's really not a lot of work you need to do there.
okay.
Okay. Additionally, you got to understand the types of people that we're going to be talking to are people like you. They're working jobs. So the times when they're available is when you're available. So you're going to call them back when you're free. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so really the only time commitment is going to be talking to them, right? What we typically tell people is if you can set aside 30 to an hour a day to do something like this, and it can be in the evenings like this, that's fine. You're good.
Okay. Okay. Um, I mean, honestly, if I hadn't been through some other programs in the past, I would probably have more questions, but
Okay.
honestly, I don't. So, I
Okay.
mean, kind of know where you're gonna go.
Sure.
I obviously don't know your system and, everything else, but, I pretty much know, the path that we're gonna take. So,
Cool. So let me ask you this. On a scale of like 1 to 10, 1 being this is terrible, I hate Max, this sucks. 10 being this is exactly what I need to actually start my land flipping business. In terms of that process that we just outlined, like where would you put yourself on that scale 1 to 10?
um, number one, I don't give a 10 to anything.
Sure.
To give you, some feedback. I would be at a 9,
Yeah,
and it's only because, like I said, I don't give a 10 to anything because that means that it's 100% needs no improvement whatsoever.
for sure.
And
Understood.
that comes from our surveys here at the hotel. So.
I grade things similarly. You're good. For you specifically, like what makes this a 9
From what I'm getting, from you, and you've already hit the nail on the head in the fact that, yeah, you're right. I don't need another, video seminar class, you know, and information. It
Mhm.
is the mentorship and the kind of the holding your hand while we're doing the process
Yeah.
and showing me how the process goes so that I learn the process and eventually down the, road I can do the process on my own. That honestly is what my search has been for.
Cool. So the investment for us to work with you for the next 6 months, so basically a 10, 20, 20, 30K a month, really however much you want. It's just a one-time investment of $5,800.
No monthlies after that? Okay. Okay.
Cool. Good roll.
Uh, if I had that sitting in my pocket, I would be. But I'll tell you that that's kind of a little bit of a stretch at just flat off.
Good.
But if I had a little bit of time, I can probably find it. So,
All good. Money aside, is this something you 100% want to do?
yeah, because like
Okay.
I said, you're telling me that it's done with one of, your team members. Obviously, they're successful at what they do because, they're coming from you. Um, and that's what I need. I mean, I need to watch somebody and, if I take it 80% of the way, somebody
Mhm.
that's there going, okay, here's what we need to cross the finish line, and that's honestly what I need. So,
Cool. Look, I'll be frank with you. Most people, they paid in full, put on a card, paid off. There's been some one-off circumstance where based where someone's at, I've been able to kind of break it up. That way they can actually get started. So if I could find a way to break this up, make it more manageable so you could come in on a smaller amount and actually get started, is that something you'd move forward on today?
it would depend on what it is, what you broke it down to. So,
Yeah.
you know, I will be honest that as I told you, up front, there's been some other courses in the past,
Sure.
and there's been quite a bit of money put out that's probably stretched me a little too thin,
Okay.
um, and unfortunately put me in the I definitely need corporate America, so
Sure.
thankful that I do have it, but yeah, and especially coming into the time of the year that it is
Yeah.
a little, a
Yeah.
little harder. So
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the best gifts you can give yourself is actually like learning the things you learn to get to where you want to go. So let's at least have a conversation about where you're at to see if we can make it work. If not, we can plan for the future.
sure.
Okay. So right now, in terms of like cash on hand between checking savings, like where are you at roughly?
Mm, checking is probably a savings might have about 1,000.
Okay. And then do you have any credit cards?
I have so my credit's not the greatest.
Okay.
It's now I think a little
Yeah.
mark wise. So the ones that I do have been the little kind of rebuilding
Yeah.
your credit 750 cards that are
Mm.
pretty close to being, utilized out.
Okay.
Meaning that they're maxed out, but uh, I don't know, I might be able to get another one possibly if I
Yeah.
need.
We'll help you get a business when you're good. At the end of the month, after you take care of yourself, everything you have to pay for, not like extras like going out, doing stuff. What are you able to save at the end of the month?
So recently it's been pretty close. It's probably a month, to be
Okay.
honest. I hate being in that point. It makes me sick, but just what I've done to myself. So
I hear you. Listen, I wouldn't beat yourself up. Like you are where you are. You know where you need to go, and now it's about taking the steps you need to do to like get out of it. Because if you don't do anything else, it's like you're just gonna stay the same,
correct.
right? So with where you're at, listen. Here's what I think would make the most sense. I agree with you. I don't think paying $1,500 right now makes the most sense. I also don't think that doing nothing makes sense. Because
Agreed.
if you again, if you do the same stuff you've always done, you're gonna get more of what you've got. That's not what you
Correct.
want. I
Correct.
think what will make the most sense here is we can break this up into two payments. So we can do $2,900 today. That way you can come in, you still have a healthy amount saved up. Then we can do 2,900 Thursdays. That way we can actually get the ball rolling and move things forward. Is that fair?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Better roll.
So you want the 29 now?
Yeah, we gotta get started.
Um, I mean, I'd have to move some things around to be able to do that because I know right now that there's not 2,900 on the in the checking.
Very good. We can just do ACH. So you see you had 2,300 in it?
Yeah.
That's fine. We can do that and then we do the 600 tomorrow. It's not a,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, well, I don't want to push it off. I was just saying, unless you wanted to do the 29 tomorrow, but
Fine. You're good. We'll get a rock and roll. All right, give me a second here. Okay, and then what was a good email for you?